Welcome to the Mentup Lead Up podcast, an essential resource for all small business leaders and their CMACs, consultants, mentors, advisors and coaches. Listen in to what our experts have to say and gain from their tips and ideas. I'm Michelle Estes, founder and CEO of the Mentup Lead Up technique and author of published book In Business With Yourself. You're very welcome to the podcast today. I'm delighted to be joined on the podcast today by Kerrie Dorman, and Kerrie is the original founder and now Chief Ambassador for the Association of Business Mentors. Kerrie, you're very, very welcome.
Thank you. I feel very, very welcome.
And what we do, on the podcast, you always look back and see people's careers, but my goodness, you have had such an interesting, vibrant journey, I would talk about. I mean, you're the serial entrepreneur, and then you came to mentoring because you believed there was no support out there for you when you were working through your entrepreneurial journey, if you like. And just so typical of an entrepreneur. I mean, how more entrepreneurial can you get than to say, okay, there's a problem, I'm going to create a solution. And so you set up the Association of Business Mentors in 2011. Tell me about that.
Well, it actually stemmed from the fact that when I sold my last business, so my serial entrepreneurship covered successes and failures.
Of course.
Of course. That's part of the course. And so but my last business was a successful sale, and I was invited to be a business mentor on a government funded project on the back of that. And it was an incubation centre, really. I was really excited about mentoring because I'd never, as you alluded to, never had my own mentor. I guess I used my board really for that sort of support and guidance, although it's not quite the same. However, very excitedly, I started mentoring on this program, and I suddenly realized that I wasn't quite sure what I was doing in terms of mentoring. And I used the whole experience about getting quite frustrated with these young business owners that they weren't running their businesses the way that I would have run mine. But as we well know, Michelle, that's not what mentoring is all about.
But it brought you to the table, which is good.
Indeed. So what I found was that there was a severe lack of guidance and support for mentors mentoring on the project. And I looked around to find that elsewhere, and I couldn't find it apart from the EMCC, but that was very coach-centric. And so, as you mentioned, in true entrepreneurial style, I launched the Association of Business Mentors to provide guidance, support, training, and a network for mentors who just needed it.
And you mentioned in there, Kerrie, innovation centres and, all of the work that they do. I mean, there is an awful lot out there to support our small business sector. And sometimes the role of a mentor, as part of the role, is actually to help businesses to know what's out there.
Yeah, of course. You're absolutely right. It's a minefield out there, and some prove a fantastic purpose and others are lacking in structure and delivery. So yes, it is the role of the mentor to be able to gather up what is going on and what is appropriate and pertinent for the mentee that they're working with. Absolutely.
What do you think are the challenges in getting more people to get into mentoring? I mean, for you, it was a government program, but how else can we sort of get people involved?
That's a great question. It's down to the awareness and and how we increase awareness, across the country, and sadly, it's down to prolific campaigns that are run by government. That's what seems to grab people's attention. And you're right. We need more mentors, but predominantly we need more mentees. We need more business owners to accept the fact that galvanizing from somebody else's experience is a wonderful thing. It doesn't have to have this stigma of still asking for help, which we all feel is a weakness. So a multitude of things there.
And it's this idea of business owners, quite often, we work with them and the heads are down and it's firefighting on a daily basis. And that takes priority over, thinking through perhaps where the business is going, the vision for it, those sorts of things. I think sometimes, don't we as mentors, we sort of struggle to get the message over that actually that's a really important part of running a business too.
Yeah. Oh, yes, absolutely. And I can absolutely vouch from that from first-hand experience. There's so many times where you're head down and you just really don't see the bigger picture, the vision. And that's what mentors are there to help you do.
So, Kerrie, like myself, you're a woman who is also a business mentor. So let's have a look at that for a second. In all of that career that you've had, do you feel that it has been different for you as a woman in mentoring and business mentoring? I mean, have you had particular challenges that you think are unique to women?
I do, and it's a very interesting question, actually. No one's asked me this before. What was interesting was that when that first government project, I had just sold a business, so I was treated with utmost respect. However, over and above that program and latterly, and also don't forget I was quite young. I started my career quite young, and so I did feel that actually my experiences were brushed aside by men and by other women older than me. Yeah, and sadly, I don't think that is rare. And in fact, I've just read a book, this fantastic book called Why Women Win at Work by Jill Whitty-Collins, and she goes into that and how women of that certain ilk, they really don't want to help and support younger women because they feel that they don't come across as being manly enough. It's absolutely fascinating, and I think that was exactly the case.
And when you put the two things together, you put youth and you put woman together, and it's really interesting that you sort of put those both into the one category in a way to make it even more complicated. So there were two things going on at the one time. I mean, I was reading Forbes, the magazine, the other day, and it was talking about 82% of men have had male mentors, while just 69% of women have had female mentors. Do you think it's important that women have the choice to have a female mentor? Do you think that comes into it in business mentoring?
Categorically, yes. Because of the fact that the pure fact that it is a different journey, it's a different path that women have to go down in order to achieve what they want to achieve. We still operate in a man's world. I don't care what anybody says or challenges me on that. That is a fact. And I think that if you really want, as a female, if you really want to experience some capitalize on somebody else's experience that's as similar to yours as possible, then it has to be another woman.
What do you think specifically for a woman, that relationship between a woman in business and the female mentor, what do you think actually makes the connection really work?
Experience. Mm-hmm. It's that first-hand experience, gender experience, I think, that makes it work. However, as you know, mentoring relationships are extremely unique. There will be some women entrepreneurs out there who will feel more comfortable having a male mentor. That's totally understandable and their prerogative. I just believe that, and I think I'm talking from experience here, because when I connected with a female mentor who I did a bit of work with actually about 3 or 4 years ago, I just felt we clicked because of her experience and my experience, and it matched, and she was able to have the pure empathy that you need in order to open up those core conversations.
Mm-hmm. Okay, someone starting out on their mentoring journey, and I quite often ask this to most of my guests, Kerrie, what piece of advice would you give someone who's starting out as a business mentor?
I've got lots of advice, actually.
Oh, good.
it's all based on my experience. So first and foremost is just please don't be afraid to dip your toe in the water, give it a go, and just ask friends and family to be guinea pigs, for want of a better phrase, to practice on, and create your own structure and look for somewhere to hang your hat, as in come and join us at the Association of Business Mentors, and make use of all the training and the support and the resources. But my biggest lesson that I've learned along the way was the art of self-reflection and awareness levels. And I strived quite substantially in order to purposefully practice my reflection skills and self-awareness, and really to encourage constructive feedback on the way that I mentor. And to do that, I did all sorts of things. Actually, one of them was to go through an assessment centre with Professor David Clutterbuck and Bob Garvey, and they were brutally honest with me. And I didn't actually get through the assessment centre. They said that I wasn't quite there, but it resulted in being mentored by Bob Garvey for about 6 sessions, which was a pivotal moment for me, and was really, I think, the making of me being a truly effective business mentor. So key things are practice, learn from our peers, and really encourage that constructive feedback from the professionals and weave it into the way that you do things.
And I think you highlight a really important point, that mentors need mentors as well, because you're always working with other people and listening and helping and feedback and all of the challenging and all of the things you do. And we as mentors need those ourselves, don't we? Very much so.
Yeah, absolutely. I've just started my supervision that you are encouraged to do by the ABM, and it was invigorating and enlightening and just great to be able to go, bleh, you know what I mean?
Kerrie, what's next? I look back and I was reading, obviously, your career to date and going, okay, where does this person go from here? So what's next for Kerrie Dorman?
Well, quite excitingly, I've come back to the ABM after a mentoring sabbatical, completely refreshed and raring to go. And my title as ABM founder and chief ambassador means that it's my remit to get out there and shout about the ABM and the benefits of mentoring, which is what I love to do. So really, the next 12 months is all about me getting out there and shouting about us.
Fantastic. And you've got so much energy, Kerrie. And thank you for your input today. And it's been fantastic talking to you.
Oh, it's been great being here. Thanks, Michelle.
That's it for this month. Thanks for listening in to Ment Up Lead Up, the podcast for all small business leaders and their CMACs, consultants, mentors, advisors, and coaches.